Hey everyone, alright, so we've just had the trailer at long last for In the Grey. Henry Cavill's new film with Guy Ritchie, of course, starring alongside Jake Gyllenhaal, Isaac Gonzalez. Now, I've talked quite a lot about Henry Cavill on this channel, mostly in relation to Highlander, because obviously that's the project that I am just chomping at the bit for. I've been waiting a long, long time. Like, I remember when they announced that Chad Stahelski was taking the helm as director, that was around the time that John Wick 2 was about to come out, and just been all geared up for it ever since. And then, of course, add to the mix, Henry Cavill's going to be playing Connor McLeod. But yeah, we've got this really, really fun trailer for In the Grey, and basically it's everything I was hoping it's going to be, at least from the trailer. And so, but this is one of the things I wanted to really talk about in this video, that Henry Cavill, again, he seems to just consistently, like, him and Guy Ritchie, they're a winning combination. They really, really are. Obviously, this is going to be the third film of theirs now. We've had Man from U.N.C.L.E., Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, and now In the Grey. And for me, because I missed Man of Steel initially, when that had its theatrical run. So my introduction to Henry Cavill really was Man from U.N.C.L.E. And to this day, I think it's a magnificent film. I don't mind saying that that's the best Bond film we've had in the 21st century. If I want to be more specific, it's the best Bond film we've had since Tomorrow Never Dies, basically, I'll say it. And it looks like, and people on Twitter have made this point, there was a great post that was shared the other day, or X if you prefer, that, Henry Cavill's 3 Guy Ritchie films have been essentially a Bond screen test. I would take it one step further and say this has been basically Henry Cavill's unofficial Bond trilogy. Because he's very Bond-like in Man from U.N.C.L.E., of course, and even, that whole thing of the historical connection for Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, Gus March Phillips being one of the inspirations apparently behind James Bond. And now, of course, what we're getting here in The Grey. Of course, it's funny though, because in different ways, we see different things in different films. In Man from U.N.C.L.E., he's very, very cool and charming in that American way. He's got that sweet 60s radio announcer voice going on. And just the way he carries himself. That's kind of like the Bond that I would love to have seen Cavill play. Because if Cavill was to do a Bond film, I'd be hoping it would be kind of in that GoldenEye or Tomorrow Never Dies star, either one of those. And of course, more so in Tomorrow Never Dies, Pierce Brosnan's just largely very fun-loving. Of course, we have little moments here and there where he gets, serious, and we get that Fleming flavour, for lack of a better term. But there's a lot of, just that whimsical, fun, easy breeze. And obviously it's there in GoldenEye as well. But I think that's something that Cavill can really, really play quite nicely. And we have that wonderful scene in Man from U.N.C.L.E., when he sneaks into the party, he steals Hugh Grant's invitation. But that little bit when he when he just takes the punch off the waiter and just does the pratfall, it's just a great bit of physical comedy. But Henry Cavill is wonderful in those he's perfect for that, isn't he? I mean, I don't mind saying that Henry Cavill has his wheelhouse. There's more versatile actors out there, absolutely. But Henry Cavill is one of those. He has his wheelhouse within which he operates, and what he does very, very well. Now, that in mind, I think he probably could do more. Apparently, we're getting an alarm going off. Whoopsie daisy. I think he could do more. Absolutely, he could. I mean, we got a little bit of that flavour in Mission Impossible Fallout, where he tries his hand at playing a villain, and he did that very, very well. It's quite nice when he's initially presented because I don't mind saying that when he in the early stages he does come across a bit stiff and wooden, but then you've realised, oh wait, that's a deliberate decision because we're supposed to think there's something off, there's something not quite right about this guy. And then when the reveal happens that, oh, wait, this guy's the villain, this guy isn't who he's been claiming to be. It's like, there we go. But it was nice to see Cavill get the chance to play something a bit different. And then at the end, when he's got, when he's got all of is it like the acid or the gasoline that pours onto his face and he's all burned and mangled, or he gets to really go for it. So Cavill can do it, but of course, obviously, the roles he's been given so far, it's kind of wanted the same thing, but we've always had the exception with the Guy Ritchie films because. You can get that when you've got like directors and actors who really work well together. Of course, an example that everyone might point to is, of course, Quentin Tarantino and Sam Jackson. Of course, Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese over the years as well, and DiCaprio and Scorsese as well. You have these real great pairings. Of course, another one I really like is when Patrick Wilson and James Wan are together. That's kind of become a thing. But yeah, you have real winning actor-director combinations, and it really feels like Cavill, I don't know whether you want to say he comes across as more relaxed and having more fun when he's with Guy Ritchie. And I think Guy Ritchie understands what Cavill's, again, you play to your actor's strengths, and it seems as though they really do suit one another. And it just gets, I mean, they're both British, so that's the thing. In Man from U.N.C.L.E., you get to see him being this suave, charming, cool American. But then in Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, Cavill is so delightfully British. It's fantastic. What he does as Gus March Phillips, just the way you can see, he's really, really enjoying himself, and it's great to see as well. I mean, I hope obviously there's more than enough source material. It would be great if we got a sequel. I mean, I know. Well, people say Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare didn't perform very well. Well, Lionsgate, you didn't give it a proper theatrical release. Here in the UK, we didn't get a theatrical release. It was straight to Amazon Prime. So it's funny how that can work, isn't it? Like, you don't give it a proper theatrical run. It didn't do a lot at the box office, did it? And it's one of those films, it probably might have even played better to British audiences because it's a very, very British film. I always compare it. Roger Moore did a few films in the late 70s. There was The Wild Geese, there was Escape to Athena, and there was the Seawolves was 1980, but it was in that like late 70s. There's always that hangover period. It was in that hangover period as the 70s were going into the 80s. But those films, I think there's some similarities you could make between those films and Ministry. Ironically enough, there's a lot of plot similarities between the Seawolves and Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. But yeah, it would be great to see another one. I mean, the thing about Cavill's character, obviously we know from history he meets an untimely end, so if they did a sequel, Cavill's Gus March Phillips might not make it out alive, but that's what we've got to work with. But it would be great to see another one. It'd be great to see him back in as that character again. But yeah, that comes to In the Grey because it was pretty much back to back, wasn't it? The finished film in Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, and then the more or less went straight on to In the Grey. Obviously, I like that Guy Ritchie is well, I don't know. Is it fair to say recycling actors? I always like to think of it as he has his go-to people that he knows he can rely on, and obviously Cavill's fast become one of those. Obviously Isaac Gonzalez now, and Jake Gyllenhaal as well. Jake Gyllenhaal's done a couple of films with Guy Ritchie now. But I think it helps for a better work environment, more productive. Like people are comfortable with each other. They know how each other work. Um, I think it's good. It's a good thing, and you can see from the trailer for In the Grey, Cavill, Isaac Gonzalez, Jake Gyllenhaal have got a great chemistry between the three of them, and they're clearly having fun. And again, one of the things, because, when Cavill played Napoleon Solo, he played it American, fine. But between Gus March Phillips and now we've got this, I'm glad he's been able to play things more British. Because, again, Cavill is, like I always say, Roger Moore was the perfect 70s British leading man. I think Cavill's the perfect British leading man of today. It's just, the sorry state that things are in the world today. It's a bit of a, it's not what it could have been. Not even close. But of course, we get these occasional bright spots. And one of the things I really do love, whenever Henry Cavill does a film, it does feel like an event. Like when Argyle came out, I was so excited. And those first 10 minutes of Argyle, and then, of course, when we get the whole sequence on the train, I genuinely love those parts. And then there's that bit a little bit later on, when they're intercutting between what's going on in the real world with Bryce Dallas and Sam Rockwell, and then we're intercutting with what Bryan Cranston's got going on, and then we're jumping into, for lack of a better term, the fictional novel, where you've got John Cena and Henry Cavill. That little sequence where we're cross-cutting between the three, I thought that was very well done. I like Argyle. I know a lot of people didn't, but I think it's dumb fun. Yeah, but it's just, again, it's just great getting to see Cavill being so charming and delightfully British, which we know he can be in spades, and just being able to have fun, working with people like Guy Ritchie. I want to see him work with Matthew Vaughn again, because they've known each other for a long time, of course. They go back, was it Stardust? They go back, their first, Cavill played a little thing for him in that. But yeah, I mean, whether it's a follow-up to Argyle, it probably won't be, which is a shame, because I got the book, and the book is great. I wish that was what we got, the kind of tease that they're going to do that at the end of the film, but because it underperformed like it did, who knows. But the book's great. But yeah, whatever it is, it would be nice to see Cavill work with Matthew Vaughn again. And I know he said there's certain people that he wants to work with more and more. He's at the stage where he wants to work with the people he enjoys working with. We can all understand and respect that. Absolutely. But yeah, let Matthew Vaughn, next time, just give us what we want. Put him in the lead. Yeah. But yeah, In the Grey, it's been a long time coming because it's been delayed and better delayed. But it's just so nice. 15th of May, we're going to be there with bells on. And then, of course, we're getting Enola Holmes 3. Now, obviously, the first Enola Holmes didn't care that much for. Second Enola Holmes, I thought was a legitimate improvement, and I don't think it's any coincidence that there's, the film's better because it has more Henry Cavill in it. He genuinely, he brings a lot, he elevates it. I don't know what capacity he's going to function in Enola Holmes 3, because I don't think he filmed it on it for all that long. We'll see. It'll be nice if he had even more screen time than he did in the second one, but who knows. And then, of course, we've got Voltron. And Mr. H did a video about test screenings was it a couple of months ago? And might have even been late last year. And he was saying Henry Cavill gets this awesome sword fight in it, and I want to see it. And then that's going to be the dress rehearsal for Highlander. Because Highlander's going to be the main event. It's so we've got a plan of action. So we're getting in the grey and we're getting an Enola Holmes 3. And then it looks like we're getting Voltron next year. And probably we're going to get Highlander next year. Obviously, the Welling of. I can't believe that. It's just, it makes me smile every time I say it. Like, we are well into filming now. We're knocking on to what? I mean, what? January 28th was when he made the post, wasn't it? Now, I still think they'd been filming a bit before that. I really do. It might have even been just like smaller incidental second unit stuff, but it all adds up. But yeah, it was surely, maybe even by the time In the Grey comes out, they'll have finished filming. Because I think there was that article, wasn't there, that they're going to be filming in Scotland in April in the Highlands. Is it Glencoe where they're going to be filming? Now, of course, that's where they're going to do all the flashback stuff. So I think that's where we're going to be bringing in Russell Crowe and Karen Gillan, and also who's playing Angus MacLeod. How did I drop the ball so spectacularly? He's Drew McIntyre. Thank you. He's the WWE champion at the minute, isn't it? That's always good for promotion. But yeah, so he's good. I think that's all going to go down in April. And considering how long they've been filming, that might be the last stuff that they film. It looks as though they're following a similar kind of time frame to what Masters of the Universe has. That started filming the beginning of last year, and now of course that's set for a June release this year. So maybe we could expect the same for Highlander. Obviously, you know, they filmed it early in this year, so by the time the first half of this year ends, they should be wrapped. And then yeah, if they're on track for like a June, well, shall we say summer 2027 release, but I just love seeing Henry Cavill winning, man, because he's had setbacks and disappointments time and again, but it's just so brilliant that he's finally gaining some ground. And then, of course, in all of this, there's still that Warhammer project that's cooking away. You know, obviously it's a long gestating thing, but you've got to believe, you know, between Voltron and Highlander, Henry Cavill and Amazon Prime seem to be getting along just fine, which is all positive. And just again, this is a guy who just deserves all the, because one of the things I admire, he's consistently professional. He cares about what he does. He cares about the fans. He cares about the material that he's working with. More often than not, he's a fan of the material that he's working with. Treats it with respect. Always gives 110%. You know, like he's been in there with the stunt work, the sword work, all of the action stuff, even stuff that's come out about his work on Voltron. Like he's been totally dialed in. And one of the things I just always admire about him as well is just the way he carries himself, conducts himself, and even like the way he keeps, again, talking about that throwback to years ago. He keeps a real low profile, doesn't he? Like he can just drop off the map, and then when he comes back, I think that's why it always feels so special when there's another Henry Cavill, you know, because he's like, we don't. He comes back and then he goes away and then he comes back again. But honestly, always leave them wanting more. That's the way to do it. But it's nice that we're getting the steady stream of Cavill stuff coming our way now. And again, hopefully, you know, there's going to be more to come. But yeah, again, I just want to talk about that. Always a great never like to pass up an opportunity to talk about our guy Henry Cavill. Thank you for indulging me again. Please feel free to share your thoughts. But we're just about 2 months away from In the Grey. So let's start getting excited. And then, of course, shortly after that, we'll be getting Enola Holmes 3. Hopefully it won't be too long before a Voltron trailer at the very least. I mean, fair enough, we're getting that 2027, hopefully. I mean, a full Enola Holmes trailer as well, you know. Anything we can get our hands on, basically. But yeah, And got again, you never know when there's going to be more Highlander content from behind the scenes dropping. So again, all of this good stuff. It just keeps us going, and hey, there's a lot to look forward to. So thank you. I'm going to wrap this up, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.